All right, well, I think we can start with some introductions. I know people are still trickling in, but as I mentioned, we have a lot to cover, so I don't want to waste too much time. And we have some good Q&A carved out for the end. So thanks again for joining us on this webinar, Building Your Value Proposition with Your Career Center. And joining me today are my colleagues, Alexander Guten and Jennifer Baker. So as I mentioned, we have a lot to cover. So Alexander and Jennifer are going to tell you a bit about themselves later. And right now we'd like to hear from you before we get started. So I am going to launch a poll here. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Launching this. All right. So there's no wrong answer here. And we just want to learn about you again. Are you, do you have, if you're offering just a job board, if you have kind of career services beyond postings, but everything's a little bit disconnected with different tech stacks, or if you have a really integrated career services and powerful experience for your members. So if you can just fill this out, and then we will take a minute to share all of the feedback. Right now, it looks like we have a lot of offering career services beyond job postings, but in a very disconnected way, and a few folks that are just offering a job board. So I would say that that's fairly familiar. It's typical of what we hear at WebScribble. Oh, and a few just coming in with a very integrated career service. So maybe that's one of our clients here at partners at WebScribble. So I think today is going to be really good to learn, more about this, and we're really happy to offer you some insight. You have some really good people in here to help. So let me share these results. All right, so I share those with you. And I want to just do one more question here. As I said, we have a lot of information to share, but we want to make sure that we kind of focus on what's important to you. So you'll see that there's the chat in the right-hand corner. So please drop your responses. What were you hoping to walk away with today? If there's something that we can make sure that we focus on. And as I mentioned, there will be some time for Q&A that will be at the end, and we'll probably have some time in the middle to discuss some stuff. But feel free to throw that in here. Okay, I think somebody. All right. I see somebody.
I see a raised hand, Danielle.
Yeah, me too.
Jackie?
Jackie? I'm not sure if that's.
Sorry, the chat has been disabled. So I can't type anything.
That would make sense as to why nobody is using the chat.
Thanks for saying the hand.
I see Brenda too. I think she's okay. So Nicole, are you on here?
I am here. I am seeing it as up and available to me. Oh, yep, and Natalia just said that it's working now.
Okay.
Sorry about that, guys.
It's working for me. I just sent a chat. Okay, there we go. Phew. We laugh. Actually, earlier I was saying today was like a technical issue day. So all right, we're working. Thank you so much. So let me step back. If you could just let us know what you were hoping to get out of today's session. We have a lot of information, but we really want to make sure that everyone walks away with like a good strategy for what they're looking for. So please let us know if you have any questions. We will give a minute. There's a lot coming in. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, some good things on here about how a career center can be a differentiator, which I think that's what today is all about, right? Creating an strategy and really showing the member benefits. Learning how to maximize the usefulness think we will cover that for sure. Other ways to build revenue. That is always a hot topic, non-dues revenue. Okay, let me take a few. Oh, somebody wants to learn more about web scribble. We love that. All right. Thanks so much for letting us know that our chat was broken. All right. Okay, so as we get started, a few things, a few notes before we jump into the content here. The first thing is we encourage you always on these to network with each other. So please feel free to drop your name, the organization that you're with, and maybe a way for people to reach out with you, like your LinkedIn profile, if you want to share a link there. We know that a lot of our partners always like to network with each other and start connecting after these. So please do that and then engage with us. So we want to answer questions. We want to hear your feedback on everything. And like I said, well, there's enough time for some Q&A. If we don't cover something and you really want to connect, we'll share our contact information at the end. So we're really easy to reach. And as you're aware, there's going to be the chat channel to connect with us. And then if you want to use post anonymously, there's also a Q&A section. So if you just go to the bottom, you'll click the more icon, and then you can post your question anonymously. So if you're a little shy about answering. And then the final note we have is how do you get your CAE credit? So this webinar has been pre-approved for CAE credit by ASAE. So in a day or so, everyone who attended the webinar live today will receive an email as proof of attendance, which you can retain for future reference as needed. So when you go to apply for CAE or to renew your CAE, you can just add the title of the webinar to your documentation and then claim 1 CAE credit. So please let us know if you have any questions, but I know that Nicole and our marketing team, they already have an email that's going to go out right after this. So you can just contact us if you have any questions, issues, or suggestions. And with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to my colleague, Jennifer Baker.
Thanks, Danielle, and hi, everybody. I want to add my welcome. We are really glad you're here today. For those of you who know me well, today's topic is really near and dear to my heart. Prior to coming to WebScribble, I sat on the association side of the house for the bulk of my career. And just prior to coming to WebScribble, I worked at ASAE. I helped manage ASAE Business Services, Inc., which is ASAE's for-profit subsidiary. And as part of my responsibilities there, I oversaw Association Career HQ. So I really had a great opportunity to see how a lot of associations used career centers, and I knew how I had to think about, along with my colleagues, how to value build with Association Career HQ and the opportunities that are there. So I'm excited to share this content with you. And I'm really excited to be having the opportunity to present with Alexander today. And I know this topic matters to you, Alexander. So you want to tell us more about that?
Yeah, thanks, Jennifer. So to just introduce myself, I'm Alexander Gutin. I'm one of the co-founders and president at WebScribble. We've been working with associations for over 10 years, and this is definitely a topic near and dear to my heart because I oversee the product and engineering teams. And so we spend a lot of time talking to our association partners, learning how we can help their members be more successful in their career development and career management goals. And so this topic is very near and dear to me as well, and excited to discuss it with you today.
So we want you all to know that today's content reflects Alexander's experience, my experience, and really the expertise of the larger WebScribble team in terms of working with myriad clients, association clients, that's our focus, about what works when it comes to building your value proposition with your career center. And as you can see on this slide, today we're going to be providing with some key concepts to help guide your efforts. We're going to provide an array of tactical tips and ideas in the Learn How section, some key takeaways. And Of course, you're welcome to take notes, but as I think Danielle mentioned, we'll be sending you this deck and the session recording. So you can sit back and listen and use the chat to engage and ask questions. And as we run through this content, we really want you to keep two things in mind. First, we really get and understand that each of you comes from organizations that represent unique talent markets, that have job seekers and employers with their own particular needs and interests. And we also understand that each of your organizations have unique strengths and constraints. And so we promise that what we're sharing is really applicable for associations of all staff sizes, budget sizes, and membership types. And you can walk away with information that you can mold for use in your own unique context. So we hope this sounds good so far. Feel free again to use the reactions function now and as we go forward to let us know and to ask questions. All right, Nicole. So we want to start out by setting the foundation. We're going to provide 3 key strategic concepts that can really be touchstones for you and your efforts to build value with your career center. And these concepts are ones we use to inform the counsel that we provide when it comes to building value. So the first concept that we want to share is what we mean when we talk about a value proposition. And for us, in its simplest form, a value proposition is a clear, concise statement of the unique reasons why your association is a smart, indispensable investment for your target audience. That value proposition should really answer this question for your member, your prospect, which is why us? Why should they choose to go with your association, spend their time, their money, and their bandwidth on working with you as compared to the array of other professional resources that we know are out there. And to illustrate the elements of a strong value proposition, we really like this formula. So we help X do Y by doing Z. And it was devised by Steve Blank, who was the founder of the Lean Startup Circle. X is your target audience. You need it to be clearly defined. This is who you're serving. Y is the problem you're solving for your target audience. Again, clearly defined. And Z is a clear statement of how you uniquely address the defined problem for your target audience. And in our experience, successful value propositions really tap into the core needs and aspirations of the target audience. We also need to remember their declarations of intent by our organizations regarding what we're going to deliver. And when they're working, they're persuasive, and you're going to know it because it's helping to turn a prospect into a paying member and keeping members paying year over year. So why does this matter? Nicole, if you want to move on. So we would suggest that it's really essential in a Banny world. And the Banny framework is one that I came across a couple of years ago. I really like it. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, it was developed by an American anthropologist and author, Jamas Cascio, and it stands for brittle, anxious, nonlinear, and incomprehensible. And I think it really perfectly captures the qualities of our current reality, which is more chaotic and unpredictable than ever. And in this Banny world, our associations need strong value propositions to weather volatility and remain viable, driving that engagement retention that we need to thrive both now in the short term, but also into the future, right? We're all stewards and we want to pass our organizations on in good shape. And the positive impact of a strong value proposition is really supported by sector research too. In looking at Marketing General's 2024 Membership Marketing Benchmarking Report, associations reporting membership gains are more likely to say that their association has a very compelling or compelling value proposition. So that's really the first concept. The second concept is that to build value using your career center, you need new and unsiloed thinking. And in our experience, staff of organizations that successfully build value with their career centers adopt these new mindsets. And they're the ones in the in column. And they may look very simple, but it's actually hard to do in practice, right? So for those of you who answered, it's just a job board right now, making that shift to it's not just a job board, it's a career center and it's a strategic asset for you. It's just another tech platform. No, it's an essential part of that tech stack that you have to serve your target audience and deliver that value proposition. Setting it and forgetting it is going to get what you might expect. Set it and forget it results. And so having someone, doesn't have to be full time, even just a piece of time, paying some attention to the Career Center can make all the difference. And then you'll hear this and see this reflected that really connecting the Career Center to the rest of your ecosystem, that Disneyland that we serve up to our target audience, helping connect the dots for them to move around is really important. So that is key concept number 2. So unsilo your thinking. And the last key concept that we want to share with you today is that adopting a career management framework is going to help you think expansively and build a career center that really can showcase the full range of value you can deliver to your members and your prospects, and ensure that you're actually delivering a robust array of career services that support members at all career stages. And I think one of the questions was, how can we make sure we're offering more than just a job board? And this is a concept that I adopted when I was at ASAE working on Association Career HQ. And what I really like about it is that it's holistic. It's career management encompasses the overall strategy and decision-making process that guides a person's career trajectory. In associations, we're often more familiar with the concept of career development because it's aligned with our focus on professional development and certification. But they're not the same. Career development and career management aren't the same. That's what I found in all my reading. Really, career development is a component of career management. It's very task-oriented, ensuring you have the necessary skills and knowledge to advance in your career. Successful career management is proactive. Career development often is reactive, but successful career management is proactive and it's ongoing. So it involves the things you see outlined here: creating a vision for the career and revisiting that vision if you need to, lifelong learning, a hallmark of what associations do well to maintain competitiveness and employability, engaging expert support as needed. I saw folks offering recruitment services and resume writing and other things. That's expert support. Professional network building and community building. And of course, we do need to conduct effective job searches. So yes, you're not abandoning your job board. You're just boosting what you're offering. So now we set our foundation and we really want to share what we see as the power of using your value proposition with your career center. Again, more of the why. So we see 3 reasons to build your value proposition this way. So first is that career management is relevant to everybody in your target audience. They may be at different career stages, but they're coming to you in a frame of mind about how they can get ahead, succeed, and how you can support them. And in preparing for this study, we looked at a lot of sources and research. So we looked at ASAE's Foresight Works, Drivers of Change, the Workforce and Workplace paper, Bureau of Labor Statistics data, 2024 member experience and membership marketing reports from Fontiva and Higher Logic and Marketing General. And when we look across the varied sources, career management and getting help navigating career is a top need that people have. So if you can deliver information and products and services and tools that help people thrive across all stages of your career, you're going to have a member for life. The second reason why it's so powerful is that your organization knows this. You know what it takes in your industry or profession better than anyone to succeed in a career. So you're perfectly positioned to be doing this. And when you use your career center in this way, you're getting a triple win. So your members win because they get support they actually want or need. Your association wins because you're able to make progress on strategic goals. And we're going to focus in on that in a little bit. And your industry or profession wins because you're helping the workforce really tack and turn and evolve to meet market conditions now and what they need to know in the future. So like I said, we're going to focus today mostly on how your association wins, but Alexander, I know you have a little bit about how the industry or profession wins when you do this, when you really build a career center.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone mentioned my volume is a little low, so hopefully you can hear me a little bit better now. But when you offer a true career center, you're really serving both the workforce, meaning the member side, and the employers. And on the individual side, on the member workforce side, you're giving them the ability to stay relevant and employable, and be found by prospective employers. On the employer side, you're giving companies access to a really highly qualified talent pool. So candidates from Association Career Center come with targeted skills and really the motivation to thrive in their career. That's one of the reasons they typically join a professional association or any kind of association to begin with. And when we talk to companies and companies that advertise with our partners who run career centers, we hear that all the time from companies. They say things like candidates who are members of associations really are trying to advance their careers, and typically that means they're a higher quality candidate. So they're more likely to get interviewed and ultimately hired because they typically make better team members for that company. And so that's really an important component. And then in addition to that, your association has the ability to anticipate and fill talent gaps and help companies be more successful there. So that includes things like giving them sample job descriptions, information on current best hiring practices, and then of course the opportunity to showcase their employer brand, whether they're actively hiring and have active job postings or not.
Yeah, so that's, we really wanted to highlight for you kind of the power of this idea. It's not in the abstract, there are real wins here. And so we're going to dive into how the association wins. Alexander, I know you're going to kick things off here in this section.
Yep. So the career journey for members could be really, really fragmented. And we know that when we talk to some association staff, they may not even realize how fragmented it can be. And that's because there's a lot of different resources available to your members when it comes to any kind of career development or career management that they're looking for as they go through their career journey. So that means they have a lot of different resources available for all these different things all along the way. And it's not just the time that they're looking for a new position, but that's one of the times, of course. So when they're looking for a job, they have Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Monster.com, all these kinds of job boards that they could use if they're within their current position and they're looking to negotiate their salary or maybe move up and are looking to see what's competitive in terms of pay. They have resources like Glassdoor and Salary.com to access to get that information. And if they're looking to network, they might go to LinkedIn. So there's all these kinds of tools out there that are generalist tools that are great tools, but they're not specific to your industry. And that's a problem that we think associations are uniquely positioned to solve for your members. So go to the next slide. So the way that we see it is if the association is able to through the Career Center, develop best-in-class and deliver best-in-class tools for all these different things that are part of the career journey for the member, your association will be the first place that members think of and go to when wherever they are in their career journey, whether they're actively looking for a job or not. And if you deliver best-in-class tools for all these different elements, they'll provide a better experience than these other generalist sites do for members because of your specific industry knowledge that you can deliver to your members. So by way of example, Indeed is a great job board, but there's jobs for just about any industry. When they go to your career center, it would be just jobs for that specific industry and uniquely curated just for that industry, which is a much better member experience. So this flywheel kind of encapsulates a lot of these components. There's of course more. This is about all we could fit on the screen, but I wanted to talk about a few key components that we broke up into different categories. The first one is career planning. So members expect to have information, especially early career members, information on career pathing options, overviews of specific job roles and categories, and things like that. So early and mid-career members especially can benefit from those kinds of tools. Another component is learning. So members want to develop professionally, and one way to do that is through professional development to maintain competitiveness and employability. And so that includes things like webinars, training, certification, and leadership development programs. Expert support is another component. So having access to career coaching, resume writing, and even financial planning services is something that members look for. And then professional networking, of course. So that means networking in person through events, but also online. So if you have your own community where peers can network, can be really beneficial from a careers perspective. And then to go hand in hand with networking opportunities is a mentorship program. So typically matching a later stage member to an early career member to help them navigate their profession, navigate how to make use of all these different resources that your association offers as part of its career center, and just guide them through that process. And then the final one, of course, is job search itself. Like I was saying, Indeed is a great job board. There's a lot of great job boards, and they spend a lot of time and resources to develop these very advanced technologies. And when your members go to your career center and ultimately use your job board, they really expect that same level of those same kind of capabilities. So what that means is when they go to your job board, they expect a way to find jobs that are relevant to them. And under the hood, that means a lot of different technology to match the candidate or the job seeker to the right job using personalization, AI, all these different tools to help the member get the information they're looking for very quickly and have it be very, very relevant. That's very important. And so when a member goes to your career center, if they don't have a modern experience, if they're not getting the information they need, that's a negative, and you definitely want to be meeting that expectation when they are looking for a job. So that's on the member and job seeker side. On the employer side, what employers look for is really a number of tools, but essentially tools to help them find the right candidate. And so that might mean sourcing for candidates through like a resume database, managing their applicants, and then posting jobs, and of course branding themselves, meaning setting a profile to explain to the member what it's like to work at that company and why they should ultimately consider being a member of the team. Jennifer, I think you're muted still.
For all this time, you'd think I'd get the audio right. I was reflecting on, that construct. So that's another, right? We talk about the career management framework. We talk about career stage. And then, of course, just phases that apply to everybody, right? That you saw outlined there. So finding jobs, landing those jobs, and then thriving on the job. So that's another framework that you can use. So we're going to dive into how the association wins. And the first area is an engagement. And we've got 3 primary tactical tips for you. According to the 2024 Association Member Experience Report, that's a Higher Logic report, members who are considering leaving their association cite not feeling engaged or not getting value as the main reasons. And that's stayed steady. So really using your career center to boost engagement is really important to attracting and keeping folks. And as I said, as you saw in the flywheel that Alexander shared just, a minute ago, when you do this, when you move beyond just being a job board, you're creating a lot more channels and opportunities to engage members and prospects. And that's why we really want to encourage you to think about the ways you can add career management and tools and resources that give users a reason to come back even when they aren't actively applying for jobs. So maybe somebody has an opportunity for an internal promotion or wanting to take advantage of internal opportunities. Interview coaches can help with that. Maybe somebody is trying to figure out just where they want to be in 5 years. Career guides can help with that to refresh and remind themselves where they can go. So giving them more tools to come in is essential for that engagement. You know, in that same report, they talked that 71% of members agreed that a personalized experience is important to them. And I know that's no surprise to you all. But this is why we really recommend that you look at your career center with fresh eyes to be sure that you're demonstrating that you really understand your user and help them feel like your organization can be their career home. And it can start with little things like ensuring you're using photos of your career in your career center that reflect who you're trying to serve. And then it can go from there to move up to bigger plays like offering customized career advice. And we're going to show you what that looks like in a little bit. Alexander, I know you have some good insight on this third one, which is using integrations to create that seamless user experience.
Yeah, so this is near and dear to my heart, especially on the tech side. We spend a lot of time playing nice with other tools. I want to highlight 3 different things. The first is an integration with your AMS. You, at a bare minimum, you would want to have a single sign-on with your association management system so that members can use their existing account that they have to log into the Career Center and not have additional friction of creating a new account. So you want to have that as part of your Career Center. If you use a community platform like HireLogic, integrating community with careers is a really natural marriage because there's a lot of data that can be shared back and forth, meaning the Career Center, the community profile can sync to the Career Center profile, and even the other way around, and enrich the data both ways. And in addition to that, you can help with engagement on the community side by feeding jobs into the community that are contextually relevant to each specific user, helping engage those members while at the same time staying very relevant and customized for that specific member. And then the last one is on learning. So integrating your LMS, integrating courses and certifications that you have with the Career Center is another possible win and a seamless experience for members. The way that typically looks is as you demonstrate to your member maybe their career path or information about their career in the form of a career guide, showing what ways the association can help them get from point A to point B in terms of continuing education and learning is a natural marriage there as well.
We have I'm gonna pop in for a minute. There's a question I think that fits well with the sections. Actually, one of our partners asked if we are going to be providing mentorship matching for that type for engagement. And it's timely because we actually just rolled that out. So I thought, Alexander, you could bring that up.
Yeah, happy to do that. So yeah, mentoring is a topic that's come up a lot with our partners. We had a version of a mentoring platform for a long time, but we kind of recreated it from the ground up. So we're happy to talk to you about that. But in a nutshell, what partners typically look for mentorship is the ability to match mentors and mentees together based on what they're looking for and what the mentor can provide, and automate that process for the association. So you're not dealing with spreadsheets and surveys and a bunch of manual work where it ends up being a second job for one of your team members. So that module really helps facilitate that program. And again, happy to talk about it in more detail later on.
Now, I would just add to this section about this third point about integration and really customizing is that we in our community have all seen just the explosion of interest and trying to figure out how to explore AI use cases. And the Career Center can be a great place to start with some experimentation and finding ways to leverage AI and smart ways with AI tools. So, and I think there was a really interesting article I saw in Sidecar about Taco Bell providing AI tailored recommendations for lunch. So if members are able to get that kind of experience through Netflix and Amazon and Taco Bell, we know they're looking for that same experience. And that's the point that Alexander made earlier, that they are holding us, fair or not, to that high level of user experience. So now we're going to talk about an example of engagement through using customized career advice. And this is from the International Association of Fire Chiefs. They have taken the step of delivering customized career advice by serving up content that they actually already had in other places that's relevant, and creating the opportunity for users to dig more into the ways that IAFC can help them succeed on the job. And I should note that some of this, like certification, are monetized offerings. So they're really doing a great job of cross promoting. And if you go to this site, these aren't just articles. In some cases, they've linked out to blogs and podcasts, which I think is really creative. So again, helping to drive traffic and move people around the ecosystem. Another client that we work with, a partner, is the National Association of Social Work, and they too have customized their career advice area. They've added a whole section called Navigate Social Work that includes information to help their users understand what social work is, what type of social workers they want to be, and information on social work salaries and interview questions. And we did some looking at the stats, and for NASW, this update is really bearing fruit. Since the beginning of the year, the total users of NASW Career Resources section has increased 77%. So they're really seeing interest in this area. There are other clients on this call, partners of ours I know, who are doing really creative things. So please chime in the chat if you are one of those. We also have clients that have been early adopters of tools such as career guides, interview coach, and an offer analyzer. And this includes NASW, the Geological Society of America, and the American Society of Interior Designers. And they're seeing really promising results as well. New users of these career resources tools are up 52% just in the last 90 days over the previous 90 days. And folks are really taking a look at all of these different tools that are on offer. So with that, I think, Alexander, you're going to talk about the benefits of integration some more.
Yep, absolutely. So, so in terms of the careers, the community and career, we've seen we've integrated with a number of higher logic communities, and we've seen some really exciting results. So there's a couple of versions of Higher Logic's platform out there, that, but the one that's seen the best results is called Thrive Jobs. And what we've learned is we've seen a real nice uptick in terms of member engagement through that integration. So overall, this is talking about the Career Center engagement specifically. We saw a 34% increase in the number of people logging into the Career Center, so a pretty major uptick. But more importantly, a 86% uptick in actions taken on the platform. Actions means things like searching for a job, applying for a job, saving jobs, and then engaging with these other tools that we've talked about that are outside the job board. So the career resources, offer analyzer, career guides, all those different tools. So that's those very exciting metric that kind of showcases the member engagement side. Additionally, we saw an uptick in the number of job alerts people signed up for, which is a way for them to continue to re-engage with the Career Center sort of passively by getting alerted when there's new relevant jobs that are posted. So that's a great way to keep them coming back. That bore fruit from this integration. And in addition to all that, the people that used this integration saw a 13% increase, or they were 13% more likely to have members apply to a job using the combination of these two things. So I mentioned this in a previous slide, but really marrying that data and having it the data passed back and forth really provided a much better and more seamless experience for the members.
I see, Helen, you have your hand raised, so feel free to come off mute if you have a question specific. This part. Oh, thank you. Hit the wrong key. I do that all the time, so I'm glad I'm not alone in that. And I did see some other questions that are being answered. Thank you, Danielle, for keeping an eye on that. And certainly, for those of you who are working with us currently, please reach out to those of us on the client success team. We're happy to brainstorm with you and talk with you about some of these options. And Kimberly, I see you have a raised hand, so please. Maybe wrong key too. Give you a minute. All right, Kimberly, if you do have something you want to share, just feel free to type in the chat or come off mute when you can. So we're going to talk now about moving on to that second piece of the win for the association. It's in the area of really retention after initial engagement and down the line and loyalty. So a key reason association career centers increase retention is because we as associations are a trusted source of support at really critical moments for people when they're ready for the next challenge, when they're facing an unexpected career transition, which is happening for folks now, I think more often than maybe they would have anticipated. And when you add in the ability to really facilitate someone upskilling on demand and provide professional networking and community building opportunities to them, you're creating stickiness, real stickiness. People don't forget who helped them advance and achieve both those career heights, but also help them make it through bumps in their career journeys. So our recommendation to boost the retention power of your career center, the recommendations are to mine your data. I'm going to talk about that in just a bit. Personalize by career stage. All too often, I think we tend to focus on entry-level professionals, those folks in their first 5 years, and that's important, definitely. But your members also need help at other career stages, and that presents opportunities. So you've got mid-career professionals, typically 6 to 15 years into their career. You've got senior professionals who are 16 years in to 3 years before retirement, and then emeritus professionals who are about 3 years left in their career through to retirement. And your career center is such a great place to address the needs of members at these various stages with information and insight. So those early folks, of course, how to get started, but what about how to stay at the top of your game in a rapidly evolving workplace, and also how to wrap up their careers when the time comes and to give back. And to do this, you can conduct an audit of information and products and services that are being offered, identify everything that could be applicable and connect those to a career stage, and then figure out how you can surface that information. It may be as simple as just providing a link or doing an ad, providing a drop-down menu. There's a lot of ways to do it. But again, it doesn't have to be complicated. It's really just getting started to do that. And then please, that third tip is keep it fresh. To be effective, both for engagement and retention, you want to keep your career center interesting and having people to come back. And to me, this is one of the lowest hanging fruit suggestions we have, because you can do this just by doing a simple run through and strategically refreshing and tweaking the look and feel as a starting place. And that doesn't take really that much time. So I want to talk a little bit more about mining your career center data. Great example here, the Association of Corporate Counsel, ACC. They are really smartly tapping into the data their Career Center provides. Their Career Center is branded, I hope you noticed, Jobline. And to aid them in their membership and recruitment efforts, what they do, and Carrie McGovern is their Senior Director of Membership. She's working closely with their marketing team on this. And she said she would be happy to network with anybody who has questions. But they begin by tagging all account creation on the Career Center through SSO. So they know when people come into their ecosystem, right, their universe of target audience. They pull that list of source code prospects and they put them into a 3-message career focused marketing funnel. And at the end of the series, they then go into ACC's regular acquisition and hopefully retention efforts as well. And they invite, what they've done that's really cool is part of this is inviting job seekers into an open community that they've created where they promote all their career resources. And the community is open to everyone. Any one of us could go to Jobline and we would be able to do that regardless of the membership status. So it gives people a peek at your value. They also use that Thrive Jobs integration that Alexander talked about in their communities. And the best part is they've taken the time to ensure that what they're doing is aligned with their strategic plan, it's supportive, and their content strategy, which is actually focused on career stage learning. They're in the process of setting benchmarks for this, but according to Carrie, the preliminary results seem very positive. So I know this example is focused on retention after initial engagement, but hopefully you can see some nuts and bolts here and the way that Career Center data can be woven into member retention messaging as well. So for example, you could reach out to member job seekers and highlight the ways you support their career success as part of your renewal series that you do. So the third win for associations is in the area of non-dues revenue. And career centers can generate non-dues revenue. And historically, I think many associations just sort of set it and forget it and thought that was the only thing they could do. The thing is that unlike under other business lines that we engage in, we don't really have end-to-end control over the career center business line. There are macro, social, and economic forces that impact employer behavior, job seeker behavior, and really can create some volatility in those revenue streams. And that it's okay. There are going to be ups and downs. And when we understand that and understand the nature of the career center business, we also can realize that the ROI of our career centers don't just lie in just direct job posting revenue. So we have associations that are maximizing their career center revenue generation possibilities and that win by thinking how they can serve employers even when they don't have a job to post. So they're allowing advertising on their career centers, and they're using those ad slots to promote their own for sale products and services. Things like relevant affinity programs, for sale publications, certification, and membership. And they are also allowing companies to advertise. Another tactic that can help with non-dues revenue is considering about how can I connect that career center to my industry partnerships and sponsorships. So perhaps you have sponsors or partners who are seeking employer branding opportunities. Maybe you decide to keep those exclusively for your partners and sponsors. Maybe you have a sponsor or partner who's trying to establish themselves as a thought leader who'd be willing to partner to produce a co-branded career resource specifically for your members. So there's a lot of ways that you can get creative here. And I would highlight the American Society of Interior Designers because they have done just a great job of using all of the available areas in their career center to cross promote and lift up things that they're doing. So our final tip for you today is this: communicate, and then communicate again. And I know that that is something that people had a question about. So your Career Center communications should really be focused on keeping your Career Center top of mind as the go-to resource for valuable career management support. And also, if you touch employer audiences, for talent management support too. And it really can't be that once a year email or really deeply embedded in other messaging. It really should be a thoughtful year-round multi-channel effort, and you can review it and tweak it as you go. And we recommend you start this communication journey by doing 4 things. I'm going to talk about 3 of them and give it over to Alexander to do the last part. So first, don't call it just a job board. Give your Career Center recognizable brand and make it a destination. Come up with a name that includes your organization's acronym or industry or profession name and makes it clear that's not just a job board. Use imagery. This is the second tip, and copy on your Career Center pages that supports the branding and really helps orient visitors. The pricing page, for example, customize the copy to reflect who employers will be connecting with and how you help. The third thing is to make sure that your Career Center is really easily accessible from your organization's website homepage and making it a direct, easy to find link. And I know this seems obvious, but it is still surprising to me how many organizations do not create a seamless user experience. It actually is hard to navigate to the Career Center. And the third part is using the tools that are available to you. So Alexander, do you want to talk about that, both communicating outward and then through the platform itself?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really important to promote your Career Center in as many places as you possibly can, and leveraging technology and tools to do that. The reason is, going back to the topic of non-dues revenue, ultimately employers, what they're paying for is to get in front of your specific audience, and then they're looking to hire your members. And employers are happiest when they get the most number of quality candidates and hopefully hire one of your members to work with them. And the more eyeballs you are able to give employers access to, the more likely they are to be successful. So you want to make them successful so they keep coming back and working with the Career Center over and over again. And I want to highlight 3 ways to do that. 2 of them are maybe kind of simple, but still worth mentioning, and one is maybe a little bit more advanced. The first one is widgets. So showing something as simple as a job search box where it makes sense, maybe on the home page or a careers page within your website, or showing a jobs widget of actual jobs, the most relevant jobs or contextually relevant jobs for a particular page. Like if you have a blog or article section, showing jobs that are relevant to that specific article dynamically through widgets is an important piece. It can help drive pretty significant traffic to specific jobs, and then ultimately the Career Center itself to help engage members from different parts of your site. So widgets is the first one. Newsletters is the second one. So the example I had in mind in advance of this discussion today is, for those of you, and I'm sure many of you get the emails from ASAE, at the bottom of the emails, they have a section for jobs that have recently posted. That's a great best practice. So the way that's accomplished is you either feed in a list of jobs through your marketing platform to kind of dynamically populate them. Typically that's done through an RSS feed. It can also be done through HTML directly. But including those jobs as frequently as you can in your newsletter communications is really important. And I say jobs specifically rather than just saying come visit our Career Center, because when people see jobs, it changes every time you email them, and it looks like fresh content that they're more likely to click engage with, rather than kind of just a banner or a blanket promotion of the Career Center. So that's the best practice that we found to be very effective. And then the last one is automating communications to both employers and job seekers, and kind of having the Career Center market itself. And what I mean by that is when something happens, you should have an automated system where it's not you manually or running manual email marketing campaigns remind people to do things to keep re-engaging with a Career Center. That might include, for example, job alerts to remind your members of new jobs that are posted. But it also might mean that if someone signed up, following up with them later on in an automated way, again, not manually, to remind them to upload a resume or update their profile, or if they haven't logged in 6 months, to remind them to do that. Or if they haven't used, if you introduce one of these new tools that we talked about, to remind them that this is a new tool that they may not have had access to since the last time they logged in. You want to automate that as much as possible so that it's not a whole lot of work for you and it kind of runs itself. I know we're running a little short on time, Jennifer, so I'll throw it back to you.
Yep. So we're going to quick wrap up. And as you might expect, we're going to wrap up with a call to action. And you'll be able to see this, but we would argue that the time is now to get started. Start somewhere. Workforce demands are really evolving more rapidly than ever, and that's not stopping. Workers of all kinds are really seeking support and help figuring it out. And employers are seeking help too. So if you are one of those associations, and we've given you some examples of groups that are doing this, and we're happy to talk more about that, but see the opportunity here, and you're going to be able to really build a lot of value that way. So Alexander, I think you have one last piece, and then we'll see if there are any other questions.
Yeah, just want to invite everyone to our mid-year trends report, which is on July 1st, 2025 at 12 Eastern. That is going to be run by ASAE Guten, my brother and co-founder of WebScribble, and he's going to talk about some of the trends in the industry. So we'd love for you to join and learn. Otherwise, we're here to help and happy to answer any questions. And if there are any, we can go through some Q&A right now.
Yeah, and I would just note that we're happy to stay on for a few minutes. So if there is an additional question, we know it's getting close to the top of the hour, but we can stay on if needed. So
I do have one. It was around what are some good KPIs to focus on to know that your strategy has been a success.
Yeah, so I think some key KPIs, obviously keeping track of non-dues revenue is an important one, but in addition to that, tracking how often your members are logging into the Career Center, when they've last logged in, if they're using the job alert feature to re-engage them to come back to the Career Center, seeing what tools they're using, how many members have engaged with these different tools that are available on the Career Center, career resources, interview coaching, all these different tools. Those are all member engagement metrics that you want to be tracking. And on the employer side, you'd want to be, well, in addition to revenue, you'd want to be tracking who are your top purchasers, how often are they purchasing, what is their year-over-year trend, are they purchasing the same, more or less, and seeing why that might be. Those are some key indicators that come to mind off the bat.
And I think we have one more question that we have time. We'll stay on, but Bernadette wants to know, who's a partner, about the automation. So is this communication automation available through the Career Center itself? This is a great question. I'm very excited about this.
Yeah.
So two-part answer. So some of these automation communications are already possible. So job alerts is Bernadette works with us, so she already has access to that. Reminders, for example, to do things like upload a resume and update their profile is available today. But in addition to that, one of the things that we're working on that's on our roadmap to be released in the first half of this year is a more robust and much more customizable automation suite, where it's kind of an event-driven system where when X happens, you can do Y. So for example, when someone posts a job and it's an internship, you can automatically manually review that job and send an email to the employer that says we're reviewing it before it goes live. But it could be other things as well. So it could be someone signs in, we see that they're a non-member, you can trigger an email to them notifying them that we see you're not a member. Here are the benefits of membership, and here's more information on how to do that. So there's some really exciting use cases. We're building a library of best practices for the automations before we release them. So that's something we're working on right now. But once we release that, you'll be able to take our templates, customize them to whatever timelines and parameters make sense for you, and then customize the messaging, of course, as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Alexander. It doesn't look like we have any other questions, so we'll formally wrap this up, and then we can stay on for maybe a minute or two just to see if there's any additional questions, because I know we didn't leave that much time. But for everyone else, I'm sure you have meetings and you're very busy today. So thanks so much for joining us, and we hope to see you on the July mid-year report. And we also do Web Scribble Academy, so you'll be hearing from us as well.